Hey, conference attendee Eric. It's nice to meet you. I hope you're enjoying the program.
Yes. Hang on a second. Let me stare closer at your name tag. Oh, Janelle, you are a famous venture capitalist. Let me spend 5 minutes pitching you on my company.
I think I need to go to the bathroom. Excuse me.
Janelle, can I make a confession?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just you, me, and the thousands of YouTube followers here. Go ahead.
Thank you. I really hate going to most conferences. It feels utterly transactional, emotionally draining, and towards the end of the day, I find myself trying to retreat back to my hotel room to just watch YouTube videos by myself in silence, trying to recover from the draining day.
Yeah, I'm laughing, but you are not alone here, Eric. The problem with a lot of conferences in general is that people are way too forward in a transactional agenda. The opening hook above is not far off from real situations, where in this example, a founder figures out that someone is an investor and immediately goes into pitch mode without any context.
All right, if I can be a little bit of a braggy jerk here, I do think that the events we host at Hustle Fund are much better than most, especially our flagship Camp Hustle events and Founder Friends series. And the reason why is that we set a social contract at the beginning of these events for people not to be transactional and instead to try to understand each other first as human beings.
Very few times in daily life do we actually feel completely seen and heard. And while a conference is probably not the realistic environment to feel completely seen and heard, as an attendee, there are specific strategies you can employ to at least make interactions more enjoyable and ultimately more real.
The first rule that I have when I go to a big event is not to introduce myself when I meet someone. I know that's a bit strange. I don't share anything about my background, what I do for work, anything like that, but instead I try to strike up a conversation on an interesting topic from the event, or even better, try to focus on the person I'm speaking to and get them comfortable in sharing some personal details about their life, like what hobbies that they're into, whether they have kids or where they're coming from, and etc.
I think what also works well in this interaction is to not rush. This isn't a speed dating thing, but quality of interaction and not feeling like you are rushing your fellow conference attendees really leaves a better impression.
I think that after the conversation winds down and you feel like you're ready to move on, then at the end you can read the individual, the situation, to see whether they would like to stay connected. At that point, I might whip out a business card, and yeah, I am that old school. Or maybe I'll ask whether they like to just stay connected on LinkedIn or some other means.
One thing you can do to stay memorable at the end of a conversation, if you're going to exchange phone numbers or WhatsApp, take a selfie together and then send it as your first message to that person. It's a great way to remind a person who you are, where you met, and hold memories of nice people because of your nice smiles in that selfie.
The other thing that I like to do is follow up with everyone that I met at the event that evening. Now, I know it's sometimes a grind, but I believe that fast follow-ups also leave a great impression. And if you do need to pitch or transact with someone, keeping the momentum going really does help.
Eric, I remember you telling me a good example of how you found an investor in Hustle Fund employing this low transactional strategy.
Yeah, let me tell you this story. So one time I was invited to a party on the rooftop suite of the Fairmont Hotel in San Francisco, where they filmed the legendary Sean Connery movie, The Rock. So I was a huge fan of this movie when I was a kid, and I started talking to this random dude about the fact that we were standing on the exact spot where FBI Director Womack was thrown off the roof by Sean Connery, being held by a flimsy rope, which allowed Sean Connery to escape. I sadly can't remember what Sean Connery's character's name was. I was just passionate about the movie, and we just talked about other movies that we liked. That interaction eventually ended up being a fantastic LP commitment to Hustle Fund, but we never spoke about business that evening. We just found other ways to connect as people.
That's such a great story. I mean, People in our industry often lose sight of the fact that people like to hang out with and interact with other good humans. Just be a good person, don't try too hard to pitch anything, and set a foundation for enjoying each other as humans first. That is a better way to engage and differentiate yourself in high transaction environments like conferences.
In conclusion, don't be that jerk at the conference that just looks around at name tags and titles and goes right into pitch mode.
That's right. Don't be that guy. Instead, we challenge you to take a less transactional approach to these events and start by trying to understand the human being who's next to you and form some real connections first. This will lead to better outcomes down the line.
We'd love to hear whether you have other strategies for making real connections with people at conferences. What do you do that works?
Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Uncapped Notes.